My name is Jarman Leatherwood, and I am the pastor of the House of Hope and Restoration Church. So I believe that your greatest misery can become your greatest ministry, that God has a way of using the painful experiences of your past as a catalyst to propel you to go forward and help someone else who may be dealing with the same thing. So thus, 6 years ago, God gave us a vision to give birth to the House of Hope and Restoration Church here in Huntsville, Alabama. So Huntsville, Alabama is very unique. When you think about the makeup of Madison County, it's home to about 400 and some thousand people. It's believed that 161,000 people don't attend church anywhere. When you think about the makeup of our church, where we currently sit, we're right in the middle of a food desert. And so there's a need for fresh fruits, there's a need for fresh vegetables. And so our church is also surrounded by elementary schools and high schools, places where we can make a significant impact through some of the ministries that God has given us to be able to go out and make a difference in the life of His people. Madison County and Huntsville are very unique as it relates to the mission and vision that God has given us. When you think about it, Madison County is the home to about 400 and some thousand people. It's believed that roughly 161,000 people don't go to church anywhere. And so not only that, but our church is also seated right in the middle of a food desert. And so there's a need for fresh resources. There's a need for people to get clothing. There's a need for people to get food. And so as a result of that, God just really began to stir our heart to be able to go out and make a difference. It's kind of like when Jesus had separated Himself to go into a desolate place to pray. And the scripture says in Matthew chapter 14 that the people came out of the town to look for Him. And when they came and they found Him, all they had were meager resources, but Jesus was able to take the little resources and use them to bless the people. And so for us, we really just want to emulate that and be the hands and feet of Jesus. We want to take the little resources that we have to make a difference to a big city that has a big needs. I'm reminded of the story of David and Goliath. When the people saw how big Goliath was, they were fearful. David shows up and he sees the same giant, he sees the need, and he asked them a question. When they began to question his authenticity for being where he was, he says, "Is there not a cause?" And so that cause led him to take some action, but also to put his trust in God to be able to make a difference for the people. So for us, some practical things that God has placed in us, some insights that He's given us to be able to make a difference, is things like Hope's Kitchen. I'm so excited about the heart of our people who go out every fourth Saturday to just go out into the community and set up tables and pray with people, sing with them, feed them, just to see the passion of our people to be able to go out and do that, and to see the smiles on the faces of those whose lives that we're touching. It makes a world of difference. Not only do we have Hope's Kitchen, but we also have Hope's Pantry. It's kind of like our own in-house grocery store. I cannot tell you how blessed we are to be able to provide people with groceries that, for once in life, they get the freedom of knowing that they're able to get something sometimes and not have to pay for it. That there's a hub that they can come to and experience the love of Christ. Not only do we have Hope's Kitchen and Hope's Pantry, but we also have something that's called Hope on Wheels. Hope on Wheels is where we've had a partnership with the city of Huntsville and the North Precinct. And so there's several other partners and people in our church. We come together and we just give away free ice cream. It's just the love of Christ moving throughout the communities, and we're able to hug, play with the kids and smile with them, and to see the smiles on the parents' faces, and also hear the laughter in the kids' voice, and just for them to be able to feel like that help is here, that hope is here. And it comes to just love us and not asking us for anything, but just to show up. And so that's something that's near and dear to my heart. Another thing that God is doing through us practically is that we have this initiative that's called the Arise to Read program, where we get the opportunity to go into the schools that are surrounding us and to be able to teach kids fry words. It's believed that if we don't catch kids early in second and third grade, that there's a potential that they won't know how to read, and there's also the potential that they'll end up in prison. It's believed that prisons are built based off of the second and third grade test scores of little children. And so if we can catch them early, we can make a difference. And so in our heart, we just desire to go into those places as God opens up those doors to touch the lives of those kids. And it's bigger than just a fry word. It is ministry, and we get a chance to take part in it. We also have a nursing home ministry that I get good report often. Some of our ministers and some of our people go in and they just love on the community. Even those who sometimes feel that they have no visitors, it's always good to see a tangible Jesus in flesh who shows up to let them know that we love them. And so those are some of the practical ways and so that God has used us in this area to make a difference. And so lastly, we have this one initiative that's called the Sanford Ministry Training Institute. It's a small group setting, but it gives us the opportunity to make disciples. One of the in the Great Commission, one of the things that he told us to do was to go and make disciples. And so this gives us a small group setting to really just pour into the life of those who felt led to be in that classroom setting and to learn and to hear about Jesus. I'm a firm believer that sometimes people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so often we want to put education in the forefront and teach people good rhetoric, but don't build good relationships. And so for us, we've really tried to be intentional about loving the community. One of the things that I share with our leadership, even before we began, was that God would give us love for the people, that we wouldn't just have a building where people can come and sit down and listen to us talk, that we would go out to them and build relationships. It's more than a building, it's about building relationships. And so to have the community around us to see the needs for a relationship and help us to be able to carry forth that initiative, it makes a world of difference. No man is on an island alone. We can do more together than we can apart. And so I think that it's necessary for us to be together, to join hand in hand, to be able to deal with some of the issues that our community is facing. Ways that people can help is that, number one, you can pray. As we try collectively to deal with some of the issues that we have going on in our community, prayer is a must. It's mandatory that we lay before God and we seek His face about some of the issues that we're having. That's number one. Number two, another way that people can partner with us is that they can join in with us in the work. And so we'll make sure to get the information out to those who desire to be a part of what we're doing. Again, as I've shared, Hope's Kitchen normally goes out every fourth Saturday. We have some dates in mind as it relates to Hope on Wheels that we'll be sure to get to you. And just show up, just come in to be a part of the work that's happening here will make all of the difference. And so we really need people to really tune into that. That's number two. So not only can they help through prayer, not only can they help through participating in the work, but you can also participate in giving. Maybe you have a desire to be a part of the work, but you just can't be here. And so we have different features that allows us to give through Cash App, that allows us to give through text to give, and even just mailing it here. That affords us the opportunity to be able to do ministry. I understand firsthand that we can't do much of anything without good partnerships. And God has really blessed us with some amazing resources just through our State Board of Missions and just through local partners and through the consistent giving of our own members that have helped us to be able to carry forth the mission. They all make a difference. And so we love every one of them for it. So if people want to partner with us, those are some ways that they can do it. When I tell you that God is amazing, this past year, I think it was 2019, God opened up a door and He blessed us with an amazing facility. One of our sister churches, through the grace of God, felt led to gift us a building to be able to do ministry. And so this building came equipped with 13 acres. We have an outdoor pavilion where we're able to go out and do community events and play soccer and just allow the kids in the community to really get engaged. Not only did He bless us with an outdoor pavilion and 13 acres of land, but God also gave us a commercial kitchen. And this becomes a resource, a hub for which we're able to serve people through fellowship. I think that breaking bread is important. And so from there, Hope Kitchen operates. But not only did he give us that, he gave us an enormous sanctuary where we can seat anywhere from 500 to 700 people. And so there's room for us to grow. There's opportunity here for those who want to get engaged and experience the love of Christ. And God has given us some resources to be able to do that. And so we also have a full-size gym. Right now, there are several things that we have going on. We have a walking track. We just were blessed with some exercise equipment. Not only were we blessed with exercise equipment, but here at our church, right here, God has blessed us with an instructor who does kickboxing here, kickboxing classes. Right now they're being done on Monday, 6:30. It's just really a blessing just to see some of the things that God has given us, and God has put in our hands multiple classroom space. And so we're in the process now of starting a school, and so we're just humble and grateful that God would use us in this capacity. And so it lets us know, because we started out in a mortuary, and then some years later, God gifts us a miracle. And so that's a word in that, because no matter how low your life is, even if you start out in a place where it seems that there was death, decadence, and decay, God can give you a miracle. And so he can give you hope in the midst of darkness. And so it just speaks volume to what God has done by blessing us with this resource. And we want to be able to share it with everybody. We want to be able to share it with Huntsville. And so if he gave it to us, he gave it to us for the purposes of being able to do ministry. Yeah, so I thought about this, right? And I tell people that, and I often say this, that one of the saddest verses in the whole Bible, and I sought to know it. Number one, initially I thought that it was John 1:8, where it says that Jesus came to his own and his own received him not. I thought about that. I said, how sad must it be that God's own people reject him? But then I stumbled across John 6:66, that number that no one likes. And it says that from that time, many of them turned from him and walked with him no more. I'm thinking, how sad must it be when God's own people turn their back on him? These are people that he helped, right? And then I stumbled across John 11:35, where it says that Jesus wept. And when God cries, you think about that, when the Lord cries, how sad is it? But then I found what I believe to be the saddest verse in the whole Bible, and it was Revelation 20:15, where it says that whoever didn't have their name written in the Lamb's book of life were thrown in the lake of fire. And here's what's interesting. The chapter ends by saying whoever didn't have their name written in the book didn't make it in. So stories are ending every day. There's a sense of urgency. We have to go out and reach those, the least, who are considered to be the least, the last, and the lost. And so when you think about the ministry of Christ, he was willing to leave his seat in glory to get up and come tell people a different story. That in a world full of fake news, bad news, he came to share some good news. And that was, no matter what your past was, no matter what kind of life you lived before, he came to give you a new life. And if you were sinking in sin, he came to die for those very sins as well. And so to die with him is also to experience life in him through his resurrection. And so for me, when you think about the sense of urgency and the passion behind what we do, people are hurting. People need help. People are going through everywhere. It doesn't matter, like I told you, if they serve. We're in the Rocket City. There are a lot of people who serve on the Arsenal. We're able to put rockets in the sky. But when you look in our community, there are men who are walking with their head down. And our hope is to be able to see those heads lifted up. It doesn't matter what's your economic background. Doesn't matter what your family history, your geographical location, and that there's a sense of passion that drives us to reach those, even those who nobody else wants to reach. We love them, and we want to love them, and we want them to know that you have someone who's here for you, that no matter how low life has taken you, God can pick you back up again. And so he's placed us here to be that hope when people feel hopeless. He's placed us here to help restore lives for people who feel that their lives are broken and are incapable of being put back together again. He's taken the broken pieces in our life and he's put them back together again. And he's showing us and giving us the tools and the resources to help other people get their lives through his power, through him, to be put back together again. And that is a powerful story, because it doesn't matter how low you are, God can pick you back up again. And we believe that, and that's what we push. So when you come to our church, whether you come in a suit, whether you come in jeans, you're welcome. When you come to our church, it doesn't matter what color you are. I think that when you look at the makeup of the kingdom, it's diverse. And so we can't be one side or the other. When you think about the nature of Christ, he's no respecter of person. It's not about how much money you have. It's not about what kind of car you drive. It's about seeing the gospel of Jesus Christ work in your life, right? To see you conform into the image of God's Son. And that's a hope that we have. So that becomes the passion and the fuel that gives us life to go out and share the light of Christ with someone else who's in a dark place.